Welcome to the 9-Minute True Story, where we share emotional and dramatic real-life stories that touch your heart and reveal the unexpected twists of life. Stay with us to explore the depths of human emotions in just 9 minutes. Part 1. A Troubled Home. Emily, an 18-year-old girl, lived in a working-class neighborhood on the outskirts of Chicago. Her father passed away in a car accident when she was just 10 years old, leaving her and her mother Laura to fend for themselves. Laura, a kind but overly submissive woman, worked tirelessly at multiple jobs to raise her daughter. Things took a turn when Laura remarried to Richard, a middle-aged man with a shady past. Initially, Emily tried to accept him, believing her mother deserved companionship after years of struggle. But soon, Richard's behavior became troubling. He didn't treat Emily as a daughter and often stared at her with unsettling eyes, making inappropriate comments when Laura wasn't around. Emily confided in her mother, but Laura, afraid of upsetting her new husband and losing financial stability, dismissed her fears. "You're imagining things," Laura said, avoiding eye contact. These words crushed Emily. She felt abandoned in her own home, left to fend for herself against someone who should have protected her. Part 2. The Midnight Escape 1. Cold December night, Emily sat trembling in her room as Richard's heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. "Emily, come downstairs. I need to talk to you," Richard called, knocking on her door. Her heart raced as she locked the door, clutching it tightly. She knew she couldn't endure this any longer. Once the house was silent, Emily packed a small backpack with a few clothes, her savings of $50, and an old cell phone. Quietly, she climbed out of her bedroom window into the freezing Chicago night. Standing on the street, she looked back at the house that had once been her haven. "I'm sorry, Mom, but I can't stay," she whispered before running off into the darkness. Emily wandered through the streets of downtown Chicago, shivering as the cold bit through her thin jacket. Eventually, she found herself sitting on a park bench, clutching her knees to her chest, with no idea what to do next. She was hungry, exhausted, and scared, but above all, she felt utterly alone. Part 3. A Fateful Encounter. The next morning, Emily was still on the park bench, her eyes hollow and her stomach growling. Determined to find work, she wandered into a small cafe to ask for a job. However, her disheveled appearance led the manager to shake their head sympathetically and decline her request. As she left the cafe, she accidentally bumped into a tall, well-dressed man. "Are you all right?" he asked, his deep voice filled with concern. Emily looked up warily. The man was David, a 28-year-old CEO of a successful tech startup. He noticed her trembling hands and tear-streaked face. "Have you eaten anything?" he asked gently. Emily shook her head, too embarrassed to speak. David offered to buy her a meal. Hesitant at first, Emily eventually gave in to her hunger. She sat quietly as she ate, avoiding his gaze. "You seem like you're in trouble," David said. "If you trust me, I can help." Tears streamed down Emily's face as she told him everything: her father's death, her mother's indifference, and her stepfather's increasingly disturbing behavior. David listened intently, his heart aching for the young woman sitting before him. "You don't have to go back there," he said firmly. "If you'll let me, I'll help you start over." Part 4. Rebuilding a Life. David brought Emily to a small apartment his company used for employees in need and arranged for her to work part-time at a partner business. Under his guidance, Emily began to rebuild her life. David quickly realized Emily was intelligent and determined despite her circumstances. Encouraged by her potential, he suggested she take a short training course in project management, a skill relevant to his company's work. Initially hesitant, Emily decided to give it a try. She completed the course with flying colors and impressed David with her dedication. He offered her an internship at his company, where she worked tirelessly to prove herself. While Emily faced skepticism and jealousy from some colleagues, she stayed focused, determined to earn respect through her hard work. Her perseverance paid off when she successfully managed her first small project, earning the admiration of her peers. Part 5: A Hidden Truth. As Emily and David grew closer, their professional relationship turned into a deep friendship. David admired her resilience, while Emily felt safe and supported for the first time in years. One evening, David decided to open up about his past. "Emily, there's something you need to know," he began hesitantly as they sat in a quiet cafe. David explained that his childhood had been far from perfect. His father, Richard, had abandoned him and his mother when he was just a baby. Growing up, David watched his mother struggle to provide for him, and he vowed never to become like his father. Emily listened intently, but her heart stopped when David revealed the name of his estranged father. "Richard, that's my stepfather," she whispered, her voice trembling. The revelation hit her like a thunderbolt. The man who had made her life a nightmare was also David's biological father. Part 6: Confronting the Past. Richard, furious that Emily had escaped his control, began spreading malicious rumors about her and David. He even hired people to stalk and intimidate her. One night, as Emily walked home from work, a man cornered her in an alley, threatening her to return to Richard or face worse consequences. Terrified but determined, Emily screamed for help, causing the man to flee. When David learned what had happened, he took immediate action. Together, they filed a police report against Richard and gathered evidence of his harassment. As Richard's actions came to light, he was arrested. However, his bitterness and destructive behavior caught up with him. One night, drunk and angry, Richard stumbled into traffic and was fatally struck by a car. Part 7: Redemption and New Beginnings. Richard's death marked the end of a dark chapter in Emily's life. Though she felt conflicted about his sudden demise, she realized it was a chance to leave her pain behind and focus on her future. David stood by her side, offering unwavering support. Over time, their bond deepened into love. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of her apartment, David took her hand. "You've been through so much, Emily, and you've come out stronger. I don't want to just help you. I want to build a life with you." Tears welled in Emily's eyes as she nodded. "I love you too, David. You've shown me what it means to truly live." Epilogue. Emily and David's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the shadows of the past, they found a strength in each other and built a future filled with love and hope. Through courage, determination, and the healing power of love, Emily reclaimed her life and proved that even the darkest nights can give way to the brightest mornings. No matter how painful the past, love and courage can light the way to a brighter future.